let's talk about the biggest splash was so far has been Dusty May to Michigan. Former Florida Atlantic head coach took them to the Final Four 2 years ago. Took them to the NCAA tournament past 2 years. I'm intrigued by the hire. I did not think this would happen. I know Louisville felt disappointed that they did not get him.
Disappointed. I heard they had a press conference all scheduled and they had all their seats unfolded and ready to go.
Yeah, it's a bit hilarious to me. Now I'll say this, man, and I'm not saying this because you're a Michigan fan. My first thought, I think he's a good coach, but I also thought Archie Miller was a good coach. Why does it remind me of Archie Miller to Ohio State, to Indiana? Why does it remind me of that? No, you're on mute. Yeah.
Maybe because Archie had the one run to the Elite Eight. But I like the fit actually at Michigan. Michigan's kind of a pussy school. Well, let's be honest here. They like their academics. And I actually think Dusty May's more that squeaky clean type run the program. And I actually heard that he really considered Vanderbilt, which shocked me. I was like, wow. What? With Louisville out there, but I think
that new money, that new TV deal that goes in effect.
Yeah, exactly. But I think he actually fits Michigan pretty well. Michigan, they like to fucking flash their academics. So hopefully they fucking buy in and get rid of all that bullshit that prevented them from getting a guy like Terrence Shannon and Caleb Love, because Juwan Howard might still be the coach if he got those guys.
I'm going to say this, though. I think he's not going to be their coach in 4 years.
Where's he going to jump? Indiana?
No,
he's going to get fired or move to a better job.
I think he'll be fired. You look at that Memphis game. If they lose in the first round to that Memphis team 2 years ago, when Memphis had a 1-point lead with 10 seconds left and the ball, sometimes you can catch lightning in a bottle. You see Porter Moser at Oklahoma.
Yeah, but to explain to me catching lightning in the bottle, winning 49 games in 2 regular seasons.
But that was in the Conference USA. You know what
Conference
I mean?
USA that had both finalists in the NIT finals. They won the CBI, and they had a Final Four team last year. That was a really good Conference USA. Really good.
I'm just saying, Porter Moser was what? They were in the Valley at the time, right? What did they do in what? He went 32-6 and 20-14. So he went 50. He went 52-20. And Porter Moser, I think, is on the hot seat entering next year in Norman.
I honestly think that Porter Moser's trying to get out. I don't even know if he wants to coach in the SEC.
Well, I'm just saying he hasn't. Oklahoma, he has yet to win. What? He hasn't taken him anywhere.
Yeah. This is a tough break year for him, but they collapsed on the stretch.
And regardless, I don't know if this is the home run slam dunk hire that a lot of people think. I'm not saying it's a bad hire. I think after those 2 years at FAU, even though this year they were nowhere near as good with basically the same squad. I don't know if it was, being the hunted or if it was the coaching rumors
or the jump up to the AAC.
Yeah.
But also for what it's worth, they won 4 less games in the regular season.
Look,
they had high expectations.
I'm not saying Michigan botched it.
However, we're talking about high expectations at Florida Atlantic, which was not a good program before Dusty May got there.
True. He's the architect. He built the program basically from scratch.
And that's what we need at Michigan. We just had the least amount of wins we've ever had in 50 years. We're at ground zero.
All I can say is this: when I saw the hire,
this was a good hire.
Whether it was Louisville or whether it was Michigan, I was not convinced that this was a great hire for either school.
Also, I think he fits Michigan better than Louisville too, because to me, Dusty doesn't seem like he wants a lot of the attention. And with Michigan, there is the whole football thing that just won a national championship. You can just kind of slide behind that real quick. You can buy yourself time to build a program just like you did at Florida Atlantic. However, if he chooses to want to win now, there are 3 guys that just graduated at FAU. They do have a grad transfer year. And I'm talking about Vlad Golden, who's not even getting NIL right now because he is international. He's Russian. So if he could bring him, if he could bring John L. Davis, if he could bring Elijah Martin, those three right there, all would be grad transfers that could follow him. I'm not saying that they will. However, I mean, he developed talent. He never brought in any of these 5 stars, 4 stars that he's going to be able to have the chance to at Michigan. He developed all of those guys.
But that's the one thing too. He's only done it with one group of players. It's nice to see a coach maybe who's been there a little bit longer to do it, to repeat that success with another group of players.
What did you say his record was, by the way, in 2 years there? The last 2 years? You just quoted some record. Yeah, you quoted some record saying.
So last year he had 35 wins. This year he had 25. He won 60 games at Florida Atlantic in 2 years.
Okay. I'm just saying. I mean, no, he's done. Dude, I'm not going to say he's done a bad job at Florida Atlantic. I'm just saying I don't know that. To me, like when I heard he was reports to Louisville, then I heard reports to Michigan. I still don't think it's to me, it's not setting the world on fire. To me, I think it's a bit of a gamble.
If you remember, like 3 or 4 years ago when he was in his first or second year, but before we even knew who the hell he was, remember FAU was kind of our gambling darling because they were a covering machine. So you could tell, like, even though they were just like 500, they were starting to get better. They're starting to cover games, and sure enough, a couple years later, they completely break out and go to the Final Four.
Yeah, I would also like to mention that. I mean, him being a Midwest guy, we just hired away the dream guy of one of our rivals. Like Indiana would have sold their left arm to get Dusty May in the Bloomington.
But they wouldn't have fired Mike Woodson.
Yeah, but they wouldn't fire Mike Woodson.
But yeah, they didn't do that. And I mean, that would have been the move. He also wanted Ohio State's job. So we just got the guy that, I mean, who knows? Maybe they chose Diebler over May, which could be a little bit scary, but also I knew he was in the mix. And we also, from everything that all accounts, Louisville thought they had him. If we're getting a guy that we thought Louisville was getting, also the guy that was the most coveted guy on this carousel, I feel all right. I'm just saying that.
No, I mean, I don't think you should feel bad, but I also don't think, like, when I'm evaluating this, I'm just like, I don't think it's a home run hire. I could use plenty of examples, by the way. I'm doing it right now as we're talking, but Jeff Capel went 41-18 in 2 years at VCU before Oklahoma hired him. Bobby Hurley and Nick, I swear these are the first 2 names that popped in my head. They're the first 2 names that popped in my head.
He went
42-20 at Buffalo, making the NCAA tournament a couple times before going to Arizona State. So, like, to me, the
Bobby Hurley one, was that a great fit? I don't know. He's going down to the Southwest where he had never been. Dusty May coached at Eastern Michigan. Like, he lived in this area before.
Fair. So I would say
he said so I listened to Stone Labanowitz. They posted a video on YouTube. They interviewed Dusty May for the last time because they had a really good connection with him.
Mm-hmm.
May said that he likes the Ann Arbor area and he's already lived here before, so that was what enticed him to want to come. So I think he's going
What's
to.
What's he going to say? He doesn't like the area?
I think he's going to be quite
the shithole.
So.
But they paid me a lot of money.
Yeah. I'm just saying. I'm not going to like. To me, it's not an A hire. To me, it's not like knocking it out the park. I think, to me, it's intriguing. It could work out. I also my first thought, and like I said, this was whether Louisville or Michigan. My first thought is it's too small of a sample size. I think it's Archie Miller 2.0.
You can say that about a lot of these hires, though.
Yeah. The A hires, I guess, and I'm gonna predict to read Colby's mind. The top 2 names I think on this cycle that are proven in the high major ranks would have been Chris Beard and Will Wade. The program, we're talking about both Michigan and Louisville for this fact. Both of them have not been in the bright light in the media PR realm. Jawan Howard's out here slapping coaches, and Louisville's still in a dark cloud from what
is that negative?
Been going on.
So I see that as a positive.
both of them kind of wanted a squeaky clean guy. And when you're looking at guys with clean records, Dusty May was the top one of them.
Look, here's what I'm saying. If you're looking for guys with clean records, you ain't going to win a lot of games.
Lastly, like the other guy that I feel like was also in the mix here was Amir Abdur-Rahim. He's also a short sample guy.
No, but at least he's done it twice, 2 different universities.
But this year, we're talking about the strength of schedule that his team played. I'm not sold on that. I wouldn't have wanted that.
I think I would be more impressed with that one than Dusty May, to me. Mac, your thought? I mean, I guess should we move along or should we all grade this one? Do you guys want to grade this? I'll say it's a B.
I was gonna say B. It is a little TMZ. It is the popular one that sometimes doesn't work, but I think it's a decent fit. I think, like Noah said, he grew up as an Indiana manager. He's familiar with the Big Ten. And
Steve Alford was familiar with the Big Ten too.
I thought he did. I thought he did a really good job at FAU. That place had the worst facilities by far when he took over. So I'll give it a B.
Nick, what would you give it?
Yeah, I think B is fair. I think it's a solid hire. Like I'm not trying to come down too hard on it, but I just don't think it's like an A+ hire either.
Yeah, and my prediction is actually I'll say 5 years. He's no longer at Michigan. What do you give it, Noah?
I'm giving it an A-. The only reason why it's not even higher is because he doesn't have any high major experience. However, during that run last year, he did beat America's darling in Kansas State with Jerome Tang. He also beat Tennessee, who is another high major team. In the non-conference, he scheduled pretty well, and he went out and won those games. They only kind of shit themselves in the non-conference and against quad 4 opponents in the non-con, whether it was Bryant or whoever. So for me, it's an A-. And to answer Colby's question, the only reason why I would see him leave before year 5 is because Indiana comes calling next year or the year after.
Or he gets fired. I don't know.
Phoenix all in.
Yeah.